So there you go. Jack Rowlett, the political commentator from Young Voices UK, is here to go through the papers with me. Jack, good morning.
Good morning.
The paper talks about Keir Starmer being left, the paper says here, blindsided as the US decided to go it alone on the Iran attack. Do you think that's a fair description?
Yeah, I think it is. I think the very fact that the UK was not asked to be involved in these strikes or consulted at all beforehand, or even really part of the discussions around what action might be taken is really a sign of our diminished standing in the world, and indeed our diminished military capacity too. I think the Trump administration was absolutely right to take these strikes. And I think that the concerns within the British government are that these strikes might have been illegal and exceed the clause for self-defense that's part of the UN Charter. I think, quite frankly, though, if it's illegal, if international law says it's wrong to stop one of the world's most appalling regimes from acquiring weapons of mass destruction, then that international law is wrong. And I don't think democracies should have to pay any attention to it whatsoever. I think that the British government's concerns seem to be more with kind of de-escalation and making sure everyone gets along again, rather than the elephant in the room, which is that this appalling regime was on the verge of gaining nuclear weapons. And we are now, I think, in a safer place as a result of the strikes that have taken place.
Yeah, we're going to look at really the language that's being used by the UK government. I mean, the UK, France and Germany all issued a joint statement straight after the strike by the US saying, urging Iran not to take any action that would destabilise the Middle East. You know, you wonder how much clout that statement actually has. More of that to come after the news at 5:30. Let's look at some other stories for a moment or two. Ben Clatworthy, the Times Transport correspondent, has been out with ticket inspectors on the train to try and look at how they are, in effect, trying to tackle fare dodging. What did he learn?
Yeah, so he's learned that there's, an enormous amount of fare evasion. It's estimated to cost railway companies about £240 million a year, and that it's actually prolific offenders that are contributing the most significantly. It's not the case that you've got sort of people casually doing this. It's actually the same offenders repeatedly breaching these rules. And he's met up with a ticket inspector from Thameslink who encounters these passengers who are basically buying short tickets to pass through gates, but then they're traveling much further than the tickets allow them to. I mean, this is something I see as well on my commute. It's absolutely rife, and it's awful because it impacts those people who are legitimately paying the right fare. We all pay the price because then ticket costs go up as a result of both the cost of enforcement and the lost revenue for these railway companies. And it's putting pressure on politicians to act. I mean, we've seen these kind of stunts over the past few weeks. We saw Robert Jenrick a few weeks ago confronting fare dodgers. And I think it is good that this issue is getting more attention now, because it's when we accept this type of kind of erosion of societal norms, it sort of it cheapens our society, and I think it opens the door to other forms of antisocial behaviour and crime, and it normalises a kind of permissive attitude towards crime.
But you wonder why that's happened. I mean, what Ben said is it wasn't hard at all to find people who hadn't paid, either people pretending they'd got a rail card and they hadn't, someone trying to book their ticket while they were already on the train, and then Trainline comes up with a notification saying, this ticket was bought after departure. They say they've seen barristers, doctors, bankers, just about every regulated profession you can think about. And they say people see fare evasion as a victimless crime. That seems to be at the heart of it.
Yeah, I think that's true. So maybe there's a public information problem there too. But I think actually it's once you see other people doing it, once you think, it's a socially acceptable thing to do, then you might consider doing it. It's when we kind of stop, or it's when we take this more permissive attitude and it becomes socially acceptable. That's the problem, because people almost don't see it as a crime because they see so many other people doing it.
Yeah, how do you fix that? Fines, prosecutions? Well, the paper goes into it in more detail. There's a big change today because Mounjaro weight loss injections are now available through your GP. This is this 3-year plan to tackle obesity that starts this week. 220,000 people will be eligible for those jabs. In principle, Jack, I think most people think this is a good thing.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic thing. I mean, these drugs are wonder drugs, and we've seen enormously positive effects, an enormously positive number of trials, and we've seen, even if you don't end up losing that much weight, the benefits for heart health, the reduction in inflammation can all be seen. I do worry, though, that we're not quite taking this seriously enough. I think the report this morning is saying that this rollout will cover about 200,000 severely obese people. Well, about 30% of the UK is obese. That's upwards of 20 million people. I don't understand why we aren't trying to roll this out much sooner to a much larger number of people. There's already about 1.5 million who are paying privately. The economic benefits of a much larger rollout would probably pay for the cost. This is an enormous toll on the NHS. It's an enormous toll on productivity through increased illness, through lost days of work. So I think we need to be looking at a much larger rollout than this. But it is positive that we're now getting a start.
I think the Health Secretary agrees with you. He says, look, obesity is one of the leading causes of ill health, costing the NHS billions. That this 3-year plan, so you've got to have a BMI of over 40, which really is sort of quite significantly overweight, and then have at least 4 other health problems linked to obesity, like type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, to qualify. Then 3 years down the line, they are hoping their Mounjaro will be able to be given to patients who've got a BMI of more than 35. So they are giving it to the people who need it, well, critically the most first, and then rolling it out elsewhere. It's sort of a fascinating read. They're going to be speaking to some doctors on breakfast, actually, to look at how the rollout is going to work in practice. Now, this final story gave me absolute gloom. The headline from Mark Selman, the technology correspondent, is students will spend 25 years on their mobile phones. If you look at the average person in school, college or university spends 5 hours, 30 minutes a day on their phone, that would be 25 years of screen time if they don't change their habits. I mean, that makes me feel horror, Jack.
This actually made me feel quite good about myself, because I checked my screen time stats out of curiosity this morning, and I'm averaging about 3 hours a day on my phone, which felt like far too much beforehand. But now I feel like maybe I'm doing all right compared to some people. I mean, it's 25 years of your life on your phone. It's a sad indictment of where society's at. I think what's most interesting about this is people want to change. There's a few quotes in this article about how, students are aware of this. They're aware of their addiction to their smartphones, and they want to break out of that cycle, but they just feel like they can't. I feel like that's almost more depressing than the amount of time they're spending on their phones in the first place. And of course, it's not just students. Let's not forget, it is all of us, really, isn't it?
Yeah, 68% of these students actively want to spend less time on their smartphone and social media. I mean, I think so do all of us. You don't get to the end of the day and realise you spent 5.5 hours glued to your screen. I appreciate some of it is sort of doing work. I do a lot of my work on my phone as the day goes on, and it's quite hard to sort of switch off in this type of job. But 25 years of non-stop scrolling over a lifetime. That is motivation if you needed it today to put your phone down. Jack, thank you so much. Jack Rowlett, the political commentator with Young Voices UK, going through the papers with me. It's been a pleasure.